Good morning. So again, I'm Caron Gordon. By now, some of you might be familiar with me. I've been doing these videos on teas, tinctures, herbs, and ways that you can help yourself in this time. Okay. With all that's going on, as usual, I say to you, you must maintain a calm. Do not be fearful. Do not be fearful, but I want to say be vigilant. And there is a difference, okay? I read a lot. I tend to read a lot. I will listen to a lot of videos. I have been really making a very conscious effort to reduce the amount of news that I listen to and the amount of time I spend on Facebook. So even if I post something on there, I'm not necessarily going through reading everybody's post and reading everybody's prediction and stuff like that. No, I just make a post, a thought or something that I think somebody could benefit from. But I'm not necessarily on there reading like I used to. In terms of the news, I'm very deliberate about listening to it maybe once or so time for the day, okay? And I try to find other things to occupy myself. I'm reading a lot more of my books for school, paying more attention to my assignments, because of course I know now that people really do need the information. Before I read my teas and stuff, I want people to understand that for a long time people have been using herbs. It's not anything new. It's very important, very important to us. One of the reasons I love it is because it's way cheaper, and except that now they're trying to take over the market, so that's a whole nother thing. But it's usually way cheaper to treat yourself, and also it's less side effect, okay? Very important. That's really very important to me. As I said, I didn't do this to kind of like find a career or a business. I started the degree because I was struggling with my health, and I like to share this for believers especially. I was struggling with my health, and I was going to the doctor. I was in every prayer line. I was asking people to pray for me all the time. Even though sometimes I didn't necessarily explain, I just said pray for my health. And at one point, it's like for years, and I was like, God, why is it that there is no healing? I'm praying, I'm seeking you, I fast, I ask people to really pray for me, lay hands, ask prayer group, and still there were things I was struggling with. And I remember it was early 2017. There were two persons that were very close to me, not in terms of relationship, but close to people I know, who passed. And it was like in months of learning that they were sick. And outside of that, I was just hearing a lot of people having strokes, people just passing out and dying. And I had concerns about that, about health prior to all that. But then when it kept knocking at the door, I was like, Lord, there is just more that I need to understand. And it pushed me in a sense to start reading and researching, and I found the information was amazing. It's like it blew my mind. I was like, why is nobody talking about this? I guess people have been talking, but we tend not to pay attention until we're in that predicament, that kind of position. And I started saying, Lord, where can I go to learn more? It's for me, really. I want to learn more for me. And I looked around, searched around, asked around, and then I was brought to, where I am today. I started the degree, and I'm very happy I did. I mean, I've met some very brilliant doctors on my journey, and one of the and I can appreciate it. Why I can appreciate it? because I said to the Lord back then, I said, God, maybe if I had gotten a healing standing in a prayer line, I would go right back to doing the things I used to do that was making me sick. I would continue eating the stuff I usually eat that makes me sick. But now you've given me a better way. And no wonder the word of God says, without knowledge, the people perish. Because now that I know that I can help myself through dieting, right, and exercising and resting and meditating, I don't have to go back to where I was before. You understand that? So for me, it's just a personal thing, and I truly appreciate it. And it doesn't take from prayer, it doesn't take from your devotion, it doesn't take anything, any credit from God in any way. Why? Because to me, I give God credit because it really makes me think about how perfect God is and his wisdom. That before he made man, he made all these things. He made provisions for us. He really did, for health, for just about everything. And I just appreciate him more. And this is my testimony. And I must say, I am not a doctor. I am an alternative medicine student. I've had my own personal experience and health. For those who know me, I nearly suffered a nervous breakdown when I was in my 20s because I was running a children's home, and it was bringing me a lot of stress, especially finding funding for that ministry. And that's when I stopped sleeping at night. I could no longer sleep at nights, and that was for years. I was always on very strong sleep medication. I remember once, and by the way, I'm not knocking doctors, allopathic doctors. I love my doctors. I've always had a good relationship with them. I remember in particular, like when I get really tired, can't sleep, so fatigued that I feel like crying because I can't sleep. It's that bad. And of course, it affects many other areas of your life. And I would go when it really get like I'm about to crash. And one day he gave me some pills and he said to me, make sure you're laying in bed before you take this one. And I kind of disobeyed that because I take risk. I'm a Bailey by birth, okay? I take risk. So I was by my mom, and one of our church sisters was there, and we were talking, and I just took the pill. I was in the living area with them, and I took the pill. And then I decided that I was going to walk to the bedroom. I don't know when I got into the bed. All I know was when I was like, that was it. Next thing I knew, I was in bed. They had to lift me and put in bed because I just fell out right there. The doctor told me, make sure before you take this one that you're already lying in the bed. Point is, that's how bad my insomnia was. It was terrible. I had to be medicated to be able to find sleep. And I will sleep for a while, and then it just goes back to being really bad. I was always treating a headache, always had a headache, like almost every day. And these things are important to me because for the headache, it was since I was a teenager. I'm always having a headache. I'm always walking with Excedrin because I was going to have a headache. And so those are issues that have really cleared up for me with diet, okay? Supplementing right, my magnesium, that took care of both the sleep and the headaches for me. So understand how much I can appreciate learning about natural ways of taking care of myself, my body. It's not just saying magnesium, you have to understand dosage so that it can be effective for you. If you're treating yourself or family member, you really have to understand dosage. You want to work with a practitioner and that's why I love again the field. They have to really sit with you, go over your history, even from before birth. because a lot of people suffer trauma during birth, okay? And it affects you in your lifetime, and a lot of people are unaware of that. So they go back to before birth and take you right up to where you are at. So they're very thorough with your history, which is why a lot of people shy away from going to a holistic practitioner, because they want quick answers, okay? But they're very timely in looking over your history, understanding what brought you to where you are at, so that they can fully help you emotionally, psychologically, and physically. It's really holistic, and I truly can appreciate that. All right, so that's my story, and I have more, but as time goes by and I'm comfortable, I will talk, okay? So today we're looking at what's happening now, and for me, I am making the time to do these videos. Why? Because there are a lot of people who in this time will find themselves sick, experiencing symptoms. They might go and get tested. They're told they have to go home and quarantine because the hospitals are overwhelmed. What do you do if you're in a position that you have to go home and quarantine? How do you help yourself? If you do not have the information, if you do not have knowledge, and it's pretty basic, you're going to die unnecessarily, and that bothers me. That's what bothers me the most. There are some things that I find very disheartening in this time, like people not being able to be at the hospital with a loved one when they're sick. If you're going with an adult who has the virus bad enough that they're going to be admitted to the hospital, understand you cannot be there with them. That, for me, being the type of person I am, is very, very critical. I remember when my son was almost 2 years old and he was admitted in the hospital. Myself and my husband, we tag teamed, because at no point were we going to leave him alone in the hospital. At no point. If he's supposed to get something at 2 o'clock, if either of us are there, we can make sure or see to it that he gets it at 2 o'clock. So a nurse is not forgetting, or whatever might be the case. All right, so understand that. If they're pulling blood, I need to know, what are you going to be testing for now? You just draw blood 2 o'clock, you draw blood 1 o'clock, you draw blood 12 noon. What is this for again? So understand, it's important to be there, because sometimes it helps. Sometimes they're so busy, they're not getting to do this in time or that in time. They're not getting to give them medicines in time. And because you're there and you can be asking, or because they are busy, understand the line of work that they do, they might be attending to other patients, and you notice that, oh, my family member is getting worse, I have to call a doctor now. Press the button, call the nurse, something. You're there and you're able to do that. Understand, if somebody for you has the virus and is admitted, you cannot be there to do any of that. So for me, that is frightening, to say the least. So the most I can depend on is if they're well enough to take my phone calls. And whatever call the nurse or the doctor is going to call to say they're getting better, they're stable, this, that, I have to take their word for it. As opposed to if I'm there to be able to see for myself exactly what is happening, to be able to question what they're giving to them and why, understand that you can't do that now. All of that is taken away from us. So they're being treated, we don't know how. In a lot of countries, there have been no autopsy. So we don't even know how they die, okay? And I'm reading of instances where there is no birth certificates. Those things to me are very, very crucial. And people need to understand where we are and exactly what is happening. So when you get a very clear picture of that, then you understand you have to give yourself and your family a fighting chance. I've been saying this to those in our group and our church circle since January. How do you give yourself a fighting chance? You need to stock your homes with some of these herbs, with some of these supplements and these vitamins. I'm going to tell you the basic one I tell everybody before I move on to the ones I'm going to talk a little bit about now. All right, basic. You must have vitamin C in your house. Zinc, vitamin D. Refer back to my first video and you will get the dosage. You also want to have Epsom salt so you can soak your body in it. If you have any kind of a lung disease, or whether you have asthma, whether you have COPD, any kind of respiratory illness, you want to have your nebulizers, and you want to have, if you use nebulizer, you ask your doctors to prescribe the albuterol. You have it stocked in your home in case you're faced with a crisis. You can help yourself. I said in one of the videos before, you can use the colloidal silver if you so choose to. Okay, all right. So those are the basic things that you need. I've also said, whether you believe it's radiation poisoning, the vitamin C neutralizes the effect of radiation. Or if you think it's a virus, as they're saying, the vitamin C in large dosage will help you. The first video has all the information that you need. Now, we're all home people. There are people messaging me, asking me, what did you say? Go back to the video. Right? I cannot respond to everyone on the information that I spend my time to give out. All right? Refer back to the video. I've asked you time and time again, share the video. It's important for people to get the information. If you can save a life, please do so. I'm hearing of people losing friends, family members. Why are we losing people when we have basic information? Just understand what I'm trying to say to you, especially those in the church, and try to help yourself. There's nobody in the world who is going to try to help you at this time. Okay, take my word for that. All right. So we're going to look at some of the herbs right now. Another thing, you don't have the vitamin C. I did this yesterday. You know, I felt so good afterwards. What I do, like, you have the lemon or the lime, and you're squeezing them to make juice. Do not throw, make sure you wash them, you know, well enough first, whether you use the apple cider vinegar or whatever. That's how you kind of wash the things now. When you purchase them, before you put them in your refrigerator. Not that we shouldn't have been doing that for a long time. And if you have hydrogen peroxide, you can tip a little in the water and you rinse them, you put them away. Okay, so now you use the lemon, you juice it and you make your juice. Whatever you do with it, you drink. Do not throw away the skin with, you know, the pegs and stuff inside. I store them, you know. Then when you have a few, you just put on a pot of water and you boil it. You throw some garlic in it, and you throw some garlic in it, and you throw some ginger. You sweeten that with your honey, you drink it. I've been feeling so good, especially in my throat, since I did that yesterday. So the vitamin C is very strong. The skin of the lime and the orange is very good. Do that, all right? Stop being afraid of the dosage. If you are sick at all, you need large dosage. I've said you can take up to 6,000 milligrams of vitamin C safely if you are sick. You can take up to 50,000 IU, vitamin D safely if you are sick. Now, these are things that you need in this time, all right? You need 50 milligrams of zinc. Zinc helps to prevent pneumonia. We're trying to protect the lung. I've encouraged you to walk with a thermos if you have to go to work, so you're constantly drinking your tea throughout the day, whatever sort, whether it be garlic, whether it be ginger, whether it be sirasi, whether it be lemon peel, orange peel, but you have that warm tea you're constantly drinking throughout the day. And these things have so much benefits that you might be taking it for one thing. It's like the magnesium. You might be taking it for a headache, but then you realize you start sleeping better. You realize you had a constipation problem and you didn't connect it to anything, but now the magnesium has also taken care of that. So yes, you might be taking it for one thing, but then you realize it's benefiting you in so many other areas. All right, so I'm going to talk today about bone set. I'm going to talk about snake root. I'm going to talk about sirasi, lime tea leaf. These are things we are very, very familiar with. So I want to talk about the things that you can find readily, not the herbs that you have to go out to find. All right. We're in our homes this week. We're told that this week is going to be the worst with the US, with the UK as well. So you want to be prepared for the worst. You want to be able to protect your family. Remember your menthol, your Vicks, your essential oils, eucalyptus oil. You can be inhaling those. You can also tip it in some hot water. The steam comes up. You're able to breathe that in, clear your respiratory tract, your upper respiratory areas. Okay, because we do not want the virus getting down in our lungs. It is very, very damaging. Okay. So we want to talk about bone set. Now, bone set breaks up fevers. One of the things with this virus is the fever. A lot of time people go to the hospital. If they don't have a fever, they're like, you don't have the virus, they send them back home. A few days later, fever comes. Okay. All right. What do you do if you're home with a fever and you're quarantined? The bone set. If you have, these are some of the things we even have in our backyards. Okay. The bone set, it breaks the fever. It increases urine output. So once you're urinating, you're getting rid of some of the toxins that we're fighting in this time. It treats constipation and it can cause vomiting. So if you take it in large dosage, you're going to vomit. It's very important to take small amounts throughout the day if you're trying to break up a fever with bone set. And they call it bone set because it deals with very, very high fever. Like they said back then, the fever is so deep it gets to your bones, so they call it bone set for that reason, like when it's set in your bones. But it breaks up very, very high fever. You really do not want to take too much at once, but a little bit throughout the day. As I said, herbs are great. They don't work as fast as allopathic medicine, and you're not knocking that because there are situations that are very acute and persons find themselves in crisis, like accidents. They work very well under those kind of circumstances. Otherwise, take your time with your herbs. As long as you are healed, that's what is important. Okay, and you don't have a big bill at the end of the day. So you want to read more, find out more about the bone set. It was used to treat swine flu. Okay, it's used to treat the regular flu. It's used to treat acute bronchitis. So for those with bronchitis, you want to check out the bone set. All right, you can Google or find the pictures of it. Look if it's something that's already in your backyard, in your community. Your neighbor might have it. It works well for nasal inflammation, for joint pains, because of course it reduces inflammation in the body. So it works for rheumatism. You want to check that out if you're having bad arthritis. It works for fluid retention, for dengue fever, for pneumonia. So even we had the dengue fever crisis the other day, the bone set was very good for that. It causes sweats. It was also used for malaria. It is used for muscle pains and spasms, for gout and for pleurisy. Now we talk about malaria here. Remember, now we're hearing about the pills that they're using, and these are pills that were used to treat malaria. I'm not sure what is the fuss about the pill and not using it, because so many other countries been using it for a while, so it's not as though it's even new. There are other countries that started using it to treat this virus here for a while. But even so, it has been out for a while. It's shown to be effective when treating malaria. So it's not a new drug. Okay, they're only just experimenting to see how it does with this virus, and many countries have been using it, including Israel, and getting very good results with the drug. Okay, so that was bone set for you. Now we're going to talk a little about snake root. Snake root reduces anxiety. You're talking about the root here of this plant. You can put it in, find the picture, see what it looks like. You can send me pictures too. I'll be happy for that. I'll post them. It is good for persons, for reducing hypertension. So persons with high blood pressure, you want to find that snake root plant. You want to be planting it up around your house. It's very good for insomnia, for people who cannot sleep. So there you have it. This is one of the herbs that you can experiment with if you have difficulty sleeping. Remember your magnesium. This snake root is also very good for constipation. So for those persons who your bowel not contracting and you're having difficulty in that area, you want to read more about snake root. You want to talk to your herbalist or your doctor about it. You want to experiment with this plant. Okay, it's very good for fever. So this is a second one that's good for fever. So there you have the bone set. Now you have snake root. It's good for joint pain as well. We're talking again about the arthritis, and that means it would reduce inflammation then, because arthritis is really mainly about inflammation in the joint areas. It's very good for liver problem and schizophrenia. So for those people with mood problem, depression, anxiety, you may want to experiment on snake root. Do not use it for driving, because remember, it makes you sleep or sleepy. So you want to avoid it if you have to drive. But this plant you want to experiment with, you want to read more about. It is used for poisoning, thus the name snake root. If you were bitten by a snake, it was one of the plants that they used so to help to get rid of the toxins from the bite out of your body. All right, very good for epilepsy. Again, we're talking about the mental illnesses. It's good for nervousness, agitation. It says the chemical found in this plant is the same as the chemical found in the prescription drug reserpine. Okay, reserpine, you want to check that out. So it's the same chemical that's found in this plant. So reserpine is the pharmaceutical drug that is used, but here, if we want, we can use snake root, the plant. So if you don't have any in the backyard, you may want to farm some. It helps with blood pressure. I mentioned that before, because it dilates the blood vessels and it relieves the strain on the heart. So it's dilating the blood vessels. The heart is having to do less work with pumping the blood, so it both helps the heart and it helps hypertension. It clears your GI tract and it promotes normal functioning, relaxes the bowel, so for persons with constipation issues. So yes, if you're having GI problem, gout, or any other kind of issues with your digestion and with your GI tract, you want to be experimenting with snake root. Of course, check with your doctors, please, and your herbalist, somebody who is experienced using the plant, so that they can give you more information. It neutralizes toxins or poisons in the body, and it reduces inflammation. So there, it neutralizes toxins and poisons. So you see exactly why it was used for like snake bite or insect bite. It helps with menstruation. So for those with menstruation issues, you're not having a menstruation, this is something you want to talk to your doctor about, you want to read more about, you want to experiment with, you want to talk to your herbalist about. It induces menstruation, and that means if it induces menstruation, you're not to take this if you're pregnant. It's like neem. Neem is also one of those plants that you're not supposed to take if you're pregnant. It will cause the fetus to be aborted. So you want to be very clear on that, okay? That doesn't mean it's not a good plant. It just means you can't take it when you're pregnant. It regulates your mood, so it's good for depression, it's good for cramp, bloating, so all of those PMS symptoms it works well with, which means it seems to have an effect with regulating the hormone for females somewhat. Do not take it in large dosage because you're going to vomit. And one of the ways that we get rid of toxin is, like vomiting, sweating, defecating, urinating. So yeah, so it causes you to vomit if you take too much. You will have nasal congestion as well and loss of appetite. But otherwise, great herb that you want to experiment with. In this time also, remember your hyssop for cleansing, your olive leaf, remember your juniper, okay? All right, so now I'm going to talk about Indian borage Mexican mint. These are just everyday herbs planted in the backyard. Mint. When I was growing up, there was hardly a house that didn't have mint tree in the backyard. As long as there was a yard space, there was a big mint tree flourishing, okay? So this Indian borage is the name. It's our Mexican mint, right? All right, it helps with the lymphatic system. That's important because, we want to make sure the lymphatic system is always moving so we lose toxins out of the body, right? It improves your skin. That's mint. So if you're having skin issues, you want to be drinking more mint tea. Drink it because you're poor, but you're drinking it because of the nutritional benefits, okay? It detoxifies the body. It defends against cold and eases arthritis pain, right? It relieves stress and anxiety. I've been saying that over and over in my videos about the mints. We want to be planting them back in our backyard. You have so many different types of mints, right? But they really help with stress and anxiety. They're really known for that. Helps with the digestive tract, with digestion. If you're having problem with indigestion, you drink some mint tea. It reduces the progression of cancer. It helps to relieve respiratory issues, and that is why it helps with cold, sore throat, congestion, stuffy nose, all of that. Painful sinuses. So if you're having sinus issues, in addition to your plenty vitamin D, you want to be drinking lots of mint tea. It acts as an expectorant to eliminate mucus and phlegm from your respiratory tract. So if there's a lot of phlegm or mucus, in addition to your thyme tea, if you don't have time, you can experiment with the mint tea, okay? And mint tea is not an experiment, by the way, because we used to drink it a lot before we start with all these fancy other full of sugar and milk, kind of stuff. Yeah. All right. It helps to clear your sinuses. It boosts your immune system. And we want everything in this time that helps to boost our immune system. Its most popular usage, though, is for skin issues like bug bites, sting, if bees sting you, eczema, psoriasis. It's an anti-inflammatory it has anti-inflammatory properties, right? And it reduces irritation. So it reduces swelling, it reduces redness, it eliminates itchiness. So if you're having, normally we'll go by the DPH expectorant if people scratching and, all of these other symptoms, swellings and stuff. But yes, you can drink a lot of mint instead. It is very high in vitamin C, and you know how much we all love the vitamin C and vitamin A, right? It reduces oxidative stress. Now, very high in vitamin C, that's the strongest immune system builder, very high in vitamin A. Now, one of the things that research has shown is that persons who are deficient in vitamin A are prone to viruses, okay? So one of the things you want to be supplementing on is your vitamin A, and because a deficiency makes you prone to viruses. So it reduces oxidative stress. It's good for eyesight. Another thing that is good for eyesight is a herb called Eye Bright, okay? I have a bottle over there. So you can really experiment with Eye Bright. It really works. I've tried it recently because I lost my glasses. And it really, really has helped my sight. So for those with the fogginess of the eyes and all that, you want to be drinking a lot more mint, and for the vitamin A, and you want to also experiment with the herb Eye Bright. Remember, look at what the find pictures of them online and then you go search for them. That's a nice assignment, okay? I mean, we did that once in school. We like discussed the herbs, we went out in the yard and we were searching for, and we were surprised how many different herbs we found among the bushes, you know. Beautiful. All right, it has anti-cancer properties and the stem is rich in antioxidant. Okay, that's good. It reduces free radical in the body and it acts as a diuretic. It induces urination, you know, diuretic, induces urination to rid the body of toxins. So if there's any toxin and poisons and whatever, that's you drink only peppermint tea. All right. We talk seriously, popular, so common. Just grow up bush on everybody fence, okay, in your backyard. Was it last year or the year before? I went somewhere on one of my jobs and I saw a whole heap of seriously on the fence. Yes, I went to the pharmacy for one of my clients, and there was just so much seriously on the fence when we parked at the pharmacy. And I got out the car and I just started taking a lot of them off the fence. All right. I was like, whoa, I don't remember seeing this in America, but yeah. So seriously, was in everybody's backyard when we were growing up. All over everybody's fence. Start throw back some on the fence them, okay? Because you see, now that the sophisticated world is locking out a lot of people, what do we have to resort to now? When science turns its back and say no, we're too full, we can't take care of you, what do we have to resort to? We go right back to the things that God intended for man. Okay, so seriously, helps with hypertension. It's good for like worms and parasites in the body. So you know, we used to get washed out. Please, important. So yes, it helps with abdominal pain. I remember when we were growing up, there's this little song, Elena and her mama go ground, Elena start cry for her belly, go home, Elena go home, Elena go boil seriously for your belly. Jamaicans will get that. All right, yes, so it's good for abdominal pains. It cleanses the upper body. It cleanses the body and it cleanses the blood, which is why most of these bitter herbs cleanse the blood. It really helps with diabetes. Okay, so you want to check that out. If you're diabetic, you really need the bitters in your diet. You need to do that at least 2 or 3 times for the week. You're talking about your bitter melon, you're talking about your moringa, you're talking about your neem. These are trees like all over that we can pick the leaves and we can make teas. Okay, you don't have to make tinctures if you do have the time, but you can certainly put on a pot of water and simmer down these leaves in it and get the enzymes from them, and your body will benefit from it and you become healthier. Okay, control whatever disease you're told that you have. So your neem, your bitter melon, your moringa, your sericea, your aloe vera, all those bitters, Swedish bitters, all of them very good for your to help you control your diabetes, your blood sugar levels. It acts as a tonic. That's the sericea. It's good for constipation. It was used to treat malaria again. So I think this is the 3rd time we're mentioning malaria. And these are herbs that were used to treat malaria. What are they using now with the chloroquine? It's a drug that was used to treat malaria. Okay. All right. It purifies the blood. It's very rich in antioxidants. It reduces inflammation, lowers cholesterol, and it helps with digestion. So for those with cholesterol issues, and that's another whole thing to talk about, the cholesterol. One of the things that when I just came here, I was told I had a high cholesterol, and one of the things that helps to control that is vitamin B3, the niacin, the oregano oil, black seed oil. Yeah, those oils really help with the cholesterol issues. Sericea, very good for digestion, and it lowers the blood sugar. All right. Remember, we have the fever grass as well, and the guinea hen weed. These are known to be painkillers. Again, the guinea hen weed acts like an emmenagogue, which means that it induces menstruation. You don't want to be on those if you are pregnant or without somebody with much experience with these kind of herbs giving you some instruction or some direction as how to use them. All right. Remember your lime leaf. We used to drink a lot of soursop leaf tea, cinnamon leaf, lime leaf. Okay, go back to those things. You have a lime tree in your backyard. The leaf is very rich in vitamin C, and the vitamin C is boosting our immune system, and we need that. It helps with respiratory conditions. We're talking about breathing issues right now, like asthma. Remember, if you're asthmatic, you want to be on your magnesium now. It relaxes muscles. Yes, so you want to be on the magnesium, you want to be on the vitamin D in high dosage if you're asthmatic, okay? And here the lime leaf tea. It helps with digestion, and we're talking about a lot of things that help with digestion now, and it relieves nausea. So if you feel nauseous, you feel like you want to vomit, and you have your lime leaf, you want to make some tea. You can make the tinctures if you have the time. I mean, for more acute situations, you don't have time to make a tincture. You just have to have the tea. Like for me, because I was preparing for this time, one of the things I did was make the tinctures, because I was like, okay, if I do the tinctures now, it takes 4 to 6 weeks for the tincture to be ready. I have the teas, I have the supplement. You can do all of that until your tincture is ready. So yes, you can still be making tinctures, but understand it takes 4 to 6 weeks for them to be ready. So what do you do in the meantime? You want to make sure that you have vitamin C in your house. That is gold right now, okay? You want to make sure that you have vitamin D. You definitely want B12 if we're talking about radiation poisoning. You definitely want to have your B12, your vitamin B12 in high dosage, and selenium. Now you have to be careful with the selenium. You don't want the dosage of that to be too high. You need at least 50 to 200 milligrams per day. But I guess that's it for now. This video is quite long, but the information is necessary at this time. And yes, we pray and God delivers. We pray and God stop the war. And I have no doubt that in all of this, God is still in control. He is working. He's working for your good. He's working for my good. And let me tell you, get rid of fear. Get rid of fear. Every news you hear should not make you anxious, worried, or nervous. You watch the news for information. So if you're listening something, it must be for information, because with information you can help yourself. You know better how to help your family. You know better how to help your church, your community. So yes, you gather information, not to make yourself scared and worried to death. Understand that. You're going to be praying every day, your worship, and these things will help you not to be anxious, but it will lift your faith in God. Our prayer is important, our prayer life is important, our worship, it keeps our atmosphere charged. That is important, and I cannot emphasize that enough to you. And in addition to that, we do the practical stuff, which is building our immune system. That is really important for us to remain healthy in this time. And you know, I bless God today for what he is doing. I know he's working. I'm praying for those in the hospital. I'm praying that he will meet them there, whoever is there, that he will speak to them. It doesn't matter their condition now. I pray that God will meet with them. I pray that God will do a work like we've never seen before in the earth. And for those of us who've been praying for a revival, I think this is the time for it. This is setting the stage for a revival. So I am not worried. I really am not worried. I am thankful, because I am a believer, a firm believer in God and in the word of God. And whatsoever man meant for evil, God has a way to work it out for our good, which is why I am not going to worry. I am not going to complain, but I'm going to be informed. I am going to be practical with my stuff and my preparation, because I like to be proactive. So I'm just trusting in God to see how He's going to work this out in the end. I believe a lot of backsliders are going to return. A lot of people who think they never believe in God, because I think sometimes people just fool themselves, they're going to start believing. I believe a lot of people are going to meet God and are going to have great testimonies coming out of this. So have a wonderful day. God bless you. And please share the video. And if you like them, please hit like on YouTube. Also, subscribe to the channel. I'll keep doing these videos. Again, I must say thanks to Sarah. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. Have a wonderful day.